Hey guys, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Need to call a timeout real quick here. I wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my world listeners for a while now. It's about all the incredible things happening over on AdFreeShows.com.
We're joined by Wrestling Royalty as David Crockett takes us month by month through Jim Crockett Promotions booking logs. David and Conrad dive into the towns, matches, and money of JCP in January 1985 on The Book.
Charlotte is really the home of Jim Crockett Promotions, is it not?
It is. Yes. It's the home. The thing is, the Greensboro was always the home of Starrcade. Any,
Yes.
That the bigger matches we would take to Greensboro. Main reason is over the whole area, we had more population and road systems going to Greensboro than we did Charlotte.
We look back on the Turner years with the men who lived them. For the first time ever, JR, Eric, and Tony sit down with a couple of drinks and share stories like you've never heard before on the Ad-Free Show's exclusive After Hours.
For the 19th time, I had a regular size, grown up refrigerator. I was a grown up man. And I had a washer and dryer. Shazam! And they were moved by Turner from Texas to Atlanta. They told me we're going to put them in storage while you stay at such and such hotel downtown. I don't remember which one it was. I stayed at 2 or 3 of them before I found the place.
Chat one-on-one with the Podfather, an extension of the popular Ask Conrad Mailbag series. Conrad talks live with Ad-Free Shows members, answering their questions about wrestling, mortgages, and everything in between.
Thanks,
you,
man. I appreciate you saying that. I feel the same way. You know, I've met a lot of great people through here, and we all have something in common, and that's our love of wrestling and our inability to just let it go. You know, we all have this insatiable thirst and quest for more, and we want to learn more and be more involved. And I think it's cool that we all really, for lack of a better word, share a passion like that. And as a result, man, we can have a lot of fun together.
Hey, that's just a small taste of what Ad-Free Shows has waiting for you, including a brand new perk, getting to join in on the live recordings of the shows with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why Ad-Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at AdFreeShows.com. That's right, sign up today at AdFreeShows.com.
It's that time, so come on down. We're walking to the Dog Pound Road, D-O-double-G, Dogg and Casio. Talking shop, reminiscing on a flashback. Hall of Fame name with a legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
Welcome back to the show. It's Road Dogg and Casio, and you're listening to...
Oh, you didn't know?
What is up, dog?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. I got my Marine Corps shirt on. What shirt do you have? What shirt do you have on?
Oh, you didn't know?
It's the You Didn't Know shirt.
Yeah,
Available at boxofgimmicks.com.
I don't even know if it's on there.
Oh, yeah. You got the Hebners made you that.
I
got it. I got it.
Yeah, the twin one. Not even Dave. Not even Earl.
Not even Earl, the twin one.
Yeah, the twin one. Not the real one. Yeah, man.
I love it.
Looking good. How's life? How's the fam?
I'm going to tell you the truth. If life was getting any better, I'd probably have myself arrested, or at least Baker acted. Yeah. Baker Act was really just a 72-hour reprieval to get your wits about yourself and unplug. So let's not talk about it like it's always a bad thing. You know what I mean? Sure, I had been drinking and driving a heavy machinery, but still, sir. No, it was, everything's going great, man. Really is. We talked about our baby goats and they're thriving and alive and man, jumping around. It's really cool to see all that and to kind of be present and see my daughters and granddaughters and grandchildren see the baby goats and stuff. So it's very cool, part of my life. And yes, I also watch the weather.
I have a,
I just, in case I didn't make a good enough
You're
case
not in the Weather Channel stage of life,
about how old I am.
You're not in the Weather Channel stage.
So I do watch the Weather Channel in a hotel room, like if I'm going to fly tomorrow morning, I will turn it to and I'm actually recently made a decision to just keep the rental car in Nashville and drive home. I texted you. We talked. Because I heard you on the radio, and so I stopped there and texted you, hey, is this what you're on? You were like, yeah, but our show's over.
And then you drove through a huge storm.
Huge storm. The storm I was trying to avoid via, excuse me, Southwest Airlines, is it?
Yeah.
Direct flight, by the way, Nashville to Pensacola. So thank you for that,
It started pouring, and I went, I kind of want to text him to see how he is, but then I'm that guy texting during a rainstorm.
It was literally bad from Nashville till about 100 miles out of my house, and I just drove. Oh, it was horrible. And I had rented the little Jeep truck, and not the little Jeep Compass or whatever, but it's like a little Jeep. It's like a square boxy. Yeah, the trail. And so that's what I had rented, and I just thought, well, I'll just drive home. Forgetting that I had rented, the Austin Powers mini car. And so I drove in that thing through the storm all the way here. When I got here to turn my car in too, and I'll give a shout out to National because they are a great rental car company, and I love my rental cars from National. But when I got there, I got to Pensacola, Florida, and I got this car in Nashville, Tennessee, and they said, we don't even show you having a car. And I said, well, I do, and here it is. And they were like, well, sir, can you? And I said, sir's not going to do anything. Sir just filled it up with gas and brought it back to you. I said, I'm going to get in my wife's car, and we're leaving, and y'all figure it out. Like
you were off the grid.
Yeah, they said we didn't even have any idea that you had a
Jeep
vehicle.
Home.
If it would have been any nicer, I might have. And it's not that
you dogged it out driving through a tornado.
It's not that it's not a nice vehicle. It's not a nice vehicle for me because I'm not only fat, but I'm tall as well. So, it didn't make for a smooth ride. Without the rain, it wouldn't have been comfortable.
Well, look, Dog, we've got this is going to be a fun episode. We are going to dig into the night that got blown up recently between you and a member of the then WWE roster. But first, I want to hit a very hard-hitting question. I hate to put you on the spot, Dog.
Okay.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
That number's
one duck
game.
the size of a horse.
Yeah.
Or 100.
Hey, but so look, for real, those ducks are the geese are terrifying. They're terrifying. Can you imagine one of those the size of a horse?
No, I don't want to.
No, because
that's
it's
what
terrifying.
we're doing for this scenario.
So I will kick those little horse ducks. I will kick those little horks all over the place. Those little dorses are going to be flying like
horses.
Yeah.
Hucks.
Like it's
That's
FIFA.
Weird.
Like
yeah, I think the duck's going to have a big bill. I mean, if he's the size of a horse.
And imagine that bill hitting you in the head.
No, you don't
the
want
size
that.
of that pecker. It's when that pecker hits you in the head, you've been hit by one. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to my wife who's remembering our honeymoon now.
His bill.
But no, we're talking about ducks.
Duck, and you won't have to dodge the bill.
At this fancy hotel. Yeah. Not anything gross.
Duck, goose.
I'm with you. I think you take the tiny horses.
You kick them baby horses.
You kick them hucks all over the park. I feel like we're on a football field.
Just kick a hork. I tell you what, if I
hadn't kicked a hork, first of all, first among us who hadn't throw the first stone.
Yeah, easy stone throwers. Easy glass house dwellers.
Kicked a hork. That's going to be fine.
Who hasn't? And if you haven't, you ain't living.
Get
up between the udders and the belly. 32 belly option. Jeff Jarrett will laugh at that part.
Clip that. Put it on social. Tag Jeff Jarrett.
Yes. Love it.
We are today on this week's Oh You Didn't Know. We're going to talk about Raw's 25th anniversary. First off, Dog, you're the head of creative for SmackDown at this time. But what does this moment mean to everyone in the WWE that Raw has finally hit that 25-year benchmark? That's impressive as hell.
So it is, and it's when you're outside that box, you can think about it and the gravity of the situation and kind of let it resonate. But I think when you're inside the bubble and you're churning away, the gravity is lost on you sometimes. And so I think that's for sure, me personally, that's where I was, because
too much work stuff going on.
Oh yeah. I mean, just because you're there doing, you didn't know or whatever, I'm still thinking about what the main event on Friday is going to be. And we have to have a meeting on Wednesday with Vince about it and say who, you know what I mean? And so it's
still got a lot on your plate going.
Still got a lot from my
sitting back
from my
enjoying
standpoint,
a night.
right? And so I think my point by saying all this is I think people outside the WWE, I think it's a bigger deal to them than it is the people that are inside it, because you're just inside working to continue to make it 25 more years. You know what I mean? And so you don't have time to stop and go, man, that was awesome, because he'll even remind you, he being Vince. Excuse me. That was yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got today to deal with. And tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, speaking of, in 4 days, you'll be celebrating the 30th anniversary at Monday Night Raw in Philadelphia. Let's take yourself out of that for just a second, but just to look at it big picture-wise, how big a deal is this for you personally, Dog?
Well, so it's really cool to me. They've asked me if I'm available. They have not asked or suggested any creative or anything like that, but I'm sure, whatever they suggest, I will do gladly, and I will do to the best of my ability, and I will try to make you laugh and probably no one else. And as long as you laugh, I'm okay with that. That's been my whole career, and I'm not going to.
We need a Fergal McDivitt shirt, Sonny.
I need a Fergal McDivitt shirt. Yeah, you ain't lying.
We need Dapper Dan something on Raw 30.
Yeah, Dapper Dog. And so, look, I think it's awesome. I think it is awesome, and I can appreciate this one a little more because of where I'm at in my head, in my what chapter of my life I'm in, and all that. I really it does mean a lot more to me now than it did 5 years ago. And I do believe that was work rate. Not in ring work rate, but my work rate outside was plugging away week after week to write SmackDown, and to be at Raw was almost a distraction for me personally. Like we got stuff to do, you know what I mean? And so I don't know, just different perspectives. And my perspective this time is what I think the fans is kind of like, wow, what a milestone, what an achievement. 30 years of weekly television.
Incredible.
Like, I don't know.
Some shows don't make it the first. They get canceled mid-season. 30 years.
That would be my paranormal outlaw show. Like two shows in, they're just like, you know what?
What are we doing here?
Like,
I mean, we've got it recorded, but we ain't even going to put that out there.
We're not showing this to anybody, are we? We're not going to count that. I love it.
Going back to Raw 25, this show is from two different locations, the Barclays Center and the Manhattan Center, which was the site of the original Raw tapings.
Yep.
How difficult is that to manage, Dog?
Well, it was very difficult from a logistical standpoint, from a production, looking at it from a production side of things. Hugely difficult task. But that's what, truth be told, in the WWE, they go, hey, we want to do this. And people don't go like, oh, my God, that's going to be so hard. Let me first tell you the first problem. People go, okay, and then jump through incredible hoops to make it happen. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of a great team to be a part of, and it makes you proud to be a part of that team. And so but people don't go like, hey, that's going to be real difficult. They say yes, and then the difficult part is figuring out how to make it work. You know what I mean? And that's what, and so learned a lot of stuff, work ethics, and a lot of other stuff, working there. And that's one of the things. It's one of the things I learned.
Day of show, did you have any other responsibilities besides on-air talent?
No. And I was at that, of course, that little venue there. What was it called? The
Manhattan Center?
The Safest-Quay Arena. Yeah, the Manhattan Center. And so that was cool for me. And again, I didn't have any other responsibilities, so I could just kind of chill and hang out and wait to do my part. And it was cool. It was fun. It was great to be there. It was great to be with the other talent. It was great to be able to hang out with them and talk to them a little bit rather than, I have to work when I see them at Mania or something. So it was cool to actually spend some time with them and get to be talent for a minute. So for me personally, it was relaxing when I took the minute to relax. But you're always thinking about, okay, what are we going to do next?
Since you brought it up, there's stars everywhere on that show. Is there anyone you hadn't seen in a long time you're excited to see?
Just looking over the roster now, and no, I've seen everybody like a time or two in there. Yeah, especially Teddy Long and Godfather, and I see Ted DiBiase in there, and so yeah, no, these are people pretty much that I've seen a time or two. John and Bradshaw, John and Farouk are back there. And so, yeah, no, these are people that I worked with and saw a couple times a year anyway. And so, yeah, it was awesome. But for like Kid, you know what I mean? Me and Kid don't get to see each other a ton. He lives on the West Coast. I live on the East Coast. We just do different things. Every now and then our paths will cross, and it's special every time. And so that was one of the times where me and him would just sit in chairs in the locker room with nobody else around and just talk about whatever. You know what I mean? Just talk about life, but just being with him is always really cool. I've spent a lot of time with Billy lately, a lot of time with Jeff, a lot of time with Hunter. Some of these Sean, some of these guys that are I consider my friends, but Kid, I don't get to see Kid a lot. So when I see him, it's special to me.
From the Observer, the show drew a sellout crowd of 13,500 to the Barclays Center and 800 to the Manhattan Center, both selling out immediately. Fans of the Manhattan Center noted paying up to $835 for tickets and getting 4 matches, 2 of which were just rushed cruiserweight matches between commercial breaks. They also got a dark segment with Miz and Seth Rollins. It's a pretty damn good dark segment,
yeah.
Who both came in from Brooklyn, while Brooklyn got nothing after the last segment. An angle with Lesnar, Strowman, and Kane to build up their Rumble match. The show was a major rating success, blowing away anything in recent memory. The 3 rating with 4.497 million viewers, a higher than usual 1.63 viewers per home, were the best numbers for a show since April 28th, 2014, a show built around Evolution versus The Shield and featuring a return of Ric Flair. Dog, you mentioned you were over at the Manhattan Center. Were you worried about being at the Manhattan Center and the long downtimes during things, considering the flipping back and forth on the segments, especially in the main event spot over there?
Yeah, of course. Look, and do you... Again, do you jump into something like, yes, we can make this happen. Yes, we can do this. And then you run into problems the first time and you go like, man, if we had to do that again, we'd do this different. You know what I mean? So there were some things that we definitely learned and took away from that evening. But yeah, there was some downtime, but they were showing them stuff on a video screen. They were doing everything they could to try to make it at least able to sit through. But I don't know. It's a tricky situation to do it to begin with. So of course there were a couple of hiccups, and people sitting there in that smaller venue was one of them.
The rating of the show, do you think that's more nostalgia works, or is it just promoting big events work? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. It feels good to report that, but it also feels good to you personally, and you go, man, I've been watching this for 25 years. You know what I mean? Like it's a milestone for you personally too, if you're a wrestling fan. And so I think it's attractive. I think that is an attractive thing. It's not to say that all the storylines were smoking hot right then, but we did promote all the legends coming back and doing all. So yeah, I think it was a big moment. I'm hoping we're going to have another big one here in 4 days, I think is what you said.
Yep. The 2 matches during the commercial breaks were Mustafa Ali pinning Lance Dorado, and then Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami.
Yep.
The now Kenta and Drew Gulak and Tony Nese went 2 minutes before brawling to the back. The fans booed heavily, according to the Observer, and 45 minutes later they came back out, and Tozawa and Itami got the win. Did you get a chance to see any of this?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think they started fighting, and all of a sudden they ran out of time, and they go, get out of the ring, fight back here right now, and they do that. And then in a little while they go, hey, what if we just fought back out there? And it's like, yeah, that's great. When we get to downtime, you guys fight back out there.
That's amazing.
It was fun and lighthearted and fun. You know what I mean? Like, and so when you look at it from the inside, everybody wants to look at this industry from the inside. Half the things you enjoy are just inside jokes that get to be public jokes or inside character ideas that become public. You know what I mean? I don't know. We had a good time that night.
According to the Observer, they booed. Were you surprised with the crowd reaction, considering these are the hardcore of hardcore fans? They're spending money on tickets in Manhattan.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about the crowd reaction? What do you remember?
Them booing the Gulak piece, or them booing everything? Yeah. So I get what they're reporting, and I get what they're saying, and you know they knew what was going on because they are hardcore fans, and so they knew that they were, but they also knew they paid to get in there and sit there through something special, and so you take the good with the bad, and that was some. Live television going on, man. Yeah. 3 hours of live TV from 2 different places, and it worked. Like, holy crap, how'd you do that? Still don't know. You know what I mean? But we did. And so rather than focusing on the fact that the people booed, the 600 people booed that paid $800 to get in, or vice versa. I don't remember what it was. You just dwell on like what an impossible feat we pulled off.
Let's get to it. Let's get to the show. Raw itself opened after CM Punk chants at the Barclays Center before the show went on the air. With Shane and Stephanie McMahon out, Shane thanked every superstar who has stepped through the ropes to make Raw the success that it is. He thanked other unsung people like the employees, cameramen, and production people. They showed a nice video of Raw's greatest moments. Stephanie then introduced the person to thank for all of this, who had this vision of Raw, and called out Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Let's pause right here, Dog. When fans used to chant CM Punk at WWE shows, did anyone in the back care at all?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And it is what it is. Sometimes the boys do. Sometimes the guys are in there busting their tail, and the fans want to hijack the show or whatever to show let their voice be heard. Mm-hmm. It's always very disrespectful for the same people they supposedly love. You know what I mean? And so avidly support. But that's neither here nor there. But no, you paid your money. John Cena said it best, and he said it many times in a promo. You say whatever you want to say, as long as it ain't illegal or against our code of conduct. You know what I mean? Yeah. You paid your money. You come and you say whatever you want to say, and more power to you.
Are you happy Punk came back to AEW and blew himself out since the chants have stopped? Basically, there's a silver lining to everything a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and look, the truth be told, this ain't a I told you so, but it's coming out like one, and I apologize for that. I knew how this guy was from dealing with him personally, but it finally seems like other people have seen how he is too now. And it's like, oh, okay, so he's not the second coming. He's just a man, and he's kind of an a-hole. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. Fact of the matter. There's your sound bite, Dom.
Boom! Meltzer were going to say, I hate to say this because everyone gets old, but Vince has aged greatly of late. I don't know if he's injured or what the situation is, but he was much smaller. As far as being a performer, he was the same Vince. Fans sang his entrance music. They gave him a plaque, which they claimed they raised money for from a GoFundMe. There must have been an inside joke since the plaque wasn't very expensive, and Shane and Stephanie hardly need to use the GoFundMe to raise money. So it seemed like an inside joke regarding wrestlers who have done this and those type of campaigns. Vince saw it and said the plaque looked cheap, just like the people of Brooklyn, who then booed on cue. He made a remark about the plaque being something you get in your teeth and you get in your veins from eating too many Nathan's hot dogs. People were chanting asshole at him when Steve Austin came out. Do you remember anything about the GoFundMe stuff?
No, but exactly what it sounds like to me is somebody said, this is the plaque. Like literally somebody early in the day said, oh my God, this is the plaque we got? Like, holy mackerel, and here come the jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we think we can run with this. This plaque is cheap. Let's say with this, and then everybody chimes in and you pick the funniest joke to say or whatever,
Ironically, a couple weeks ago, whenever you're listening to this, Vince came back. But let's think about Raw 25. Did you think Vince was slowing down back then?
Well, I mean, he's talking about his appearance, and look, he's an older man, and time, we all do the job to father time, and so it was. I think he's getting older, and I think his body is, adapting to being an older gentleman, and I think that's just life. You know what I mean? You can't stop that, and so. Was he getting older? Yeah. I don't know if he's getting slower, because sometimes his genius stupefied me, and sometimes I thought what he was saying was stupefied. You know what I mean? Like it was. Sometimes I would be like, holy. But look, many a time I thought, holy crap, you couldn't be more wrong. And then literally I get proven wrong 5 minutes later when I see his idea. You know what I mean? So I don't want to doubt his genius, because this is the guy who brought us to 25 years, and truth be told, got us to the 30 and made WrestleMania, and all of this that we're talking about, all of it back then and all of it today is all his doings. And you can think what you will about him, but that's a fact.
Let's go back to the Observer. They say Austin, who is 53, looked in great shape for his age. He got the biggest reaction of anyone on the show. Vince noted that Mother Nature has been kind of Austin, but not to him, and claimed he was old, living in a retirement home as a member of AARP. He has a heart murmur that won't go away, as well as arthritis. But he said that Shane was in his prime. Austin and Shane shook hands, but then Austin turned on Shane and gave him a stunner, which everyone popped for, even though Shane is usually a babyface. They did the beer bash thing with Vince. Vince got mad about beer getting on his suit and made the Vince mad face, but didn't say anything. Fans chanted one more time, and Vince said they wanted Austin to stun Shane again, and obviously the next stunner was for Vince. He gave Vince a careful stunner, which Vince took better than he usually did in the past when he was nearly 20 years younger. Austin ended the segment giving Shane another stunner. This was generally considered the highlight of the show. I mean, definitely better than the stunner Austin gave Vince at WrestleMania. Yeah, this is one of the things that's hard to follow, dog.
It is hard to follow, but it's a big way to kick off the show too.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, Vince was hot about that second stunner to Shane. I guarantee you, and I would have been too. Like you don't get no bigger than stunning Vince.
Yeah.
Don't feed back up for another one. That's all I'm saying.
Asuka and Mickie James and Bayley and Sasha Banks beat Nia Jax and Alicia Fox, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose in 12 minutes and 3 seconds. They took 2 long commercial breaks during this match. Paige was at ringside. Banks beat Fox with a backstabber and bank statement. But the key part of the story was after the match when Asuka turned on her teammates, first throwing James over the top rope. Then she hit Bayley with a spinning back fist and threw her over the top rope, and finally did a spinning back kick to Banks and threw her over the top. The idea was that Asuka was going to throw everyone out of the Rumble and to establish her as the favorite for the match. Dog, how hard is it to build a Rumble when this show is all about moments and memories? Is that a creative bind issue for someone like you, trying to keep things moving?
Yeah, it's actually very helpful, to be quite honest. If you have, because then look, what you do is you go, look, we got all these extras. Let's talk about our stories. What stories do we have to tell to get to this pay-per-view? What stories need to be represented? What business do we have to do? Then we can go, okay, how are we going to sprinkle in the Hall of Famers or the guest or whatever? So it's not, to me, it's very helpful, especially with a 3-hour show, to have kind of the opportunity to drop in these little skits and these little backstage threads with the old superstars and stuff. So, yeah, I didn't see it as a crutch at all. I thought it actually helped.
I'm not going to go through everybody in that match, but just a couple of the ladies.
Yeah.
First, how good is Asuka?
Look, I think as far as presentation, in-ring skills, dare I say promo skills, just because I love what she does and how she represents herself via her verbal skills, Yeah. I just love it. And I think everybody else does too. I think probably should be she should be the Roman Reigns of the women's wrestling right now. And that's just a fact. And I think that's not a fact. I'm sorry. It's just my opinion. But I think even, and I know the big argument is, well, she can't cut a promo. Well, domestically, I think we're past that as a culture, as a society. I think it's totally okay if she spoke in her native tongue and we subtitled it. I think it would be totally fine how we do it now, where she just goes off and you don't know what she's saying, but she's saying something that ain't nice to you. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I think her work and her grasp mentally of the just putting together of a match and keeping her character strong in the match, yet being selfless and selling for everybody. Probably the best female wrestler in the world. And look, I know, people will doubt that. I always say Zoe Stark is one of the best female wrestlers I've ever seen. And I firmly believe that, but I believe it's more from an athletic standpoint, and her in-ring work supersedes who she is. And I think Asuka's in-ring work matches who she is. And so it just makes her that, magnanimous star is what I was looking for. Yeah, she's incredible. Asuka's incredible.
While we're here, one other person I just want to bring up, just because I'm such a personal big fan. Yeah. I have no idea your relationship or anything about him, but just your thoughts on Mickie James at this point. I've always been a big fan of her. Yeah. Such a pro's pro. Yeah. You know what you're going to get when she gets out there. She's going to handle her business. Right? Yeah. She's going to handle her side of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I love Mickie James. We always made jokes about the James gang, but the truth be told, I love her from a human standpoint. I loved her when she came back to SmackDown during my tenure there, and so that was not by accident, And so it was really cool to be able to work with her on a grander scale, because I just knew her from TNA a little bit. So then I kind of got to brush elbows with her again in WWE, and that was cool for me. I understand she wasn't too happy about the way things ended, but as far as me and her and our relationship, always been super good, always really exciting and rewarding to be able to use her creatively,
Continuing from the Observer, Kurt Angle's backstage with referee Dan Engler. Angle noted that Lesnar, Strowman, and Kane would all be in the ring together later in the show, and he couldn't afford another incident. That begged the question of why he was putting them all in the ring together. At this point, Jonathan Coachman showed up, followed by Harvey Whippleman, Brooklyn Brawler, Teddy Long, Bruce Pritchard, his brother Love, in full costume, who got a very big pop, by the way. Yeah. And it ended up with Boogeyman, who seemed to be in very good shape for someone who's 53 years old at the time, in costume, eating and drooling worms.
Yep.
Dog, it's crazy to look back and think, but this is the night the wheels started in motion for Bruce Pritchard to return to the company, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I would imagine. And look, it's very important when you come in to do a spot like that. Not very important, but I think it's important personally, but yet from a professional standpoint, to get in front of people that you want to work with in the future and look them in the eye and say, hey man, I'd love to come back here. I'd love to, you know what I mean? So it was a cool opportunity for him, I would imagine. And yeah, it was the start of a great relationship, that has been ongoing, and was just off at the time. You know what I mean? So it's just, he's back home. That's all.
Back home. There we go.
Yep.
Next, they went to the Manhattan Center with Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Ross and Lawler opened the show for a few seconds, but this was the first part of the show there. Howard Finkel, never shown on camera, introduced Undertaker. Undertaker, who is 52, looked in good shape considering all of his injuries. The Manhattan Center segments had a siren playing like the original Raws in the 93 era, and to make it look like 93, they even had the Ico Pro banner, which was a bodybuilding supplement that Vince McMahon was pushing in that era when he was trying to take over the bodybuilding world with the WBF. Did you ever take any Ico Pro, Dog?
I sure did. I sure did, and I sure did have an Ico Pro T-shirt too. That's funny.
It did. It was a nice little touch for that scene. You know what I mean? It was just a perfect little touch there. By the way, how good is it while we're here? How good is it to hear Finkel's voice doing these types of things?
Oh man,
I imagine you miss him more than anything.
Yeah, it just takes you back to. I mean, his voice was synonymous with everything, and also I think he came up with the term WrestleMania. So I'm not sure if that's a fact. I may be lying, and if I am, get over it. But if I'm not, suck it. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I am or not. But I'm hoping Dom or somebody will. I do believe that is factual. Thank you, sir. So yeah, I always love to hear him. He was the guy. He was the voice of WWF, WWWF, WWE, you know what I mean? Like, he was the guy. It was his voice. And so, yeah, it was good to hear the Fink.
Did you hang with him any? Did you travel with him?
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this. I had
stories?
matches with Finkel. Like, I had a match with Finkel, like a dog collar or something. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but like he was in a like a gray sweatsuit or something. And, like, I don't know. I don't remember it. We'll have to do some research on that. But yeah, I had a match with Fink one time. Fink was a good guy, man. When I started working at the office, he would come down and talk to me and sit in my office and talk for a while. He had his own office, but he would come and it was just a good time because he's just a good guy, but also was around a lot of incredible people and had some great stories.
Undertaker, by the way, regardless of age, he's just got that presence wherever he's at, cool. Whenever he's at.
He's Cool Hand Luke, man. We always said it. He's Cool Hand Luke. He was the guy that just he just emanated confidence, and I don't even know if that's a right word, but he just sounded right. He just has confidence, and he exudes it, and he exudes I don't know, man, coolness, calm and coolness. And look, he may have us all feel fooled and be, going crazy inside his own head, but man, he was so cool about everything, and everything was thought out and tempered. And I don't know, it was just Cool Hand Luke is what we called him, and it just made perfect sense to me. So yeah, he's still, no matter how old he is, he's still Cool Hand Luke to me.
They say Undertaker, who was not wearing the MMA gloves or hat when he left the ring in last year's WrestleMania in Orlando, did the tease of retirement without really saying anything. Dog, when you look back at the Raw 25, at that point in time, did you think Taker was done?
No. I mean, I knew he was going to come back and do some manias and stuff. I just figured, and I didn't know what they would be, but I figured he's a guy that's going to be around until he can't be around anymore. And that's good for everybody. You know what I mean? It ain't like people are going like, oh, Taker. Well, I don't know. If you're a talent and you're going, Taker took my spot, then I want to punch you in the throat. So, I fought Finkel on Raw of 99.
Woo!
So we can look that up, and maybe he probably beat me. I don't even know what happened.
You're undefeated against
Billy Gunn.
We need you to be undefeated against Finkel too.
No,
this is what
Finkel
we need.
I probably did the job for the Fink. I don't mind. I got no pride anymore.
Wait a minute, Dog. I'm just getting breaking news.
Yeah.
Did you know this?
What?
Manscaped now sells beard products.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me?
Once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Look, me and you, bearded gentlemen, my friend.
BHPK.
They've got the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code DOGG for 20% off and free shipping. Look.
Hey.
I can't wait to get a hold of this. I mean,
the stuff is, everything they've made is quality, and I always bring up the military grade because it does. It all feels like it's compact. It's all in that bag. I could pack up and leave after we attack a village or something, and be kempt all while doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I use that word.
Oh, look! If you're watching us on YouTube, you know. Me and Dog both got the beard, and mine needs all the help it can get.
Yep,
and so I'm excited. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 positions of precision.
20 positions. That's like the Kama Sutra of beard trimmers.
I was going to go with Jericho and the man of 101 moves or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You went Kama Sutra, and I like that.
Yeah.
All with one guard. No more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. That's right. Face grooming doesn't need to be hard. You get 20 different lengths in just one guard. Plus, it's waterproof, Dog, so you can shave in the shower to avoid all the hair in the sink. That way you can do it right there in the shower. And if they follow this show, they know you've spent many nights in a hotel that was knee-deep in water. Yeah. You can sit there and trim your beard.
While I sit in the water and someone else is sick.
The blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. The Pro Kit doesn't end there. They've created 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. First, there's the beard shampoo and conditioner. You need to remember, all your hair is different. Your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than the hair on your head. That's why the kit has made shampoo and conditioner specially designed to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, and replace natural oils and promote beard health. Next, the kit has Manscaped's beard oil. Do you use beard oil, Dog?
You know what? I do not, but every time I get a haircut, they put beard oil in there, and I always love it after that. So maybe this is my chance to get some beard oil for myself.
It's an essential piece for your main facial accessory. No one wants a guy whose beard is brittle and dry. The oil relieves dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath, while adding a little shimmer and shine to make you look extra fine.
Make you look fine.
That's that
you know what? That's what I need,
son.
Because that's what I put the what's it called, the dandruff shampoo on my head, Head and Shoulders. Head and Shoulders. And so then I just put Head and Shoulders on my beard too. Now what I understand is I'm making it old and decrepit and brittle.
Yeah. You got to be Dapper Dog.
If you want to be Dapper Dog,
capped off the kit with the Beard Balm.
Yeah.
A pomade that shapes, styles, moisturizes, and tames for a sculpted look to attract any fellows or dames. This is really going to...
I'm a Dapper Dan man myself.
See?
But I tell you what I will do. I will try some Manscaped Beard Balm in a heartbeat.
In 2 seconds, you'll be looking like Dapper Dog. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, a comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. Let's tell them how they can get it, Dog. 20% off and free shipping with the code
DOGG
at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the promo code DOGG, Dog. Manscaped Beard Hedger. 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 links. And we thank Manscaped for sponsoring this week's episode of Oh, You Didn't Know?
I think Manscaped, I thank them for a lot more than sponsoring this show. I'll tell you that much. Hey, it was a mess. It was a mess.
I've tamed you, son.
Imagine, and I've used this before, but imagine dropping a glazed ham in a barbershop. Just a mess. Bring
I
a
got
broom.
the beard now, but when I
Yeah.
start, I got to keep it this length. If not, it looks like I just passed out in the sand. You know what I mean? And I woke up and was like, hey, what's going on? Like a cat could lick it off. It's not
Yeah,
very tough.
yeah. It's not
So I
on
need
there
all
good.
these products, man.
Yeah. If a cat licks it off, we're going. What are we
All right.
talking about?
Let's get back to wrestling. Next was the first of many backstage card game segments. JBL and Ron Simmons were there in their APA garb playing with Heath Slater and Rhino when Ted DiBiase showed up and threw down a ton of cash to get into the game. Dog, how are you
love it.
not part of the card game?
Because I was at the other building. I think
would've been
anyway.
fun.
I think the other guys were at the other building. But yeah, that was. I guarantee you, they had a blast shooting that. Every segment was probably really fun to do, and I would have loved to have been a part of that. That's for sure.
Next, they introduced a series of former Raw general managers with John Laurinaitis in a wild, nearly orange suit, William Regal, Eric Bischoff, and then they brought out Daniel Bryan as the GM of SmackDown so everyone would chant yes. Who was your favorite GM in their role, Dog?
I'd probably Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? Like, I never loved the GM thing, but I did think it, and of course I was writing it at the time, but it was interesting to me, the dynamic between him and Shane, and there's questions of, is Shane, he's the owner's kid. Is he really going to let this other guy tell him what to do? And I just thought it was an interesting dynamic in their relationship. And so that's why, and of course I was a writer of that show.
Game of Thrones style.
So, yeah, it was cool. I thought it was cool. And if you, in the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. And that's what's always cool about when you get into those characters and that dichotomy of the power struggle.
The Miz pinned Roman Reigns in 13 minutes, 36 seconds to win the IC title. Reigns was booed heavily. Reigns took out Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, who were interfering. At one point, Reigns gave both of them the drive-by, and Miz undid the padding off of one of the turnbuckles. The ref eventually threw Dallas and Axel out. Reigns kicked out of the skull-crushing finale, but Reigns went for a spear, and Miz moved, and he ran headfirst into the exposed metal. And Miz pinned him at the Barclays Center, heavily cheered the title change. It's insane now, Dog, to think that Miz pinned Roman on the biggest Raw of the year, basically, to win the IC title.
Yeah, and for the IC title. So, and that's what I want people to realize and maintain perspective of. Man, you fast forward a year from now, and things are totally different, and it's okay. Like, it's not the world's not gonna come to an end. Like, we're good, but it's just funny to see that. Like, you brought even when the graphic popped up, I thought, oh wow, that was a long time ago. You know what I mean? I don't even remember that. But there you have it. And the same Brooklyn that booed him then would stand up and hold one finger in the air as high as they could right now. Every single person, and it's just shows the hypocrisy of all human beings. You know what I mean? It does. We're all hypocrites. Yep. You're like, oh, this guy sucks. Really? 5 years later, he's the best thing ever. So I don't know what to tell you. You know.
Christian was in the ring for a peep show segment. He noted that Edge wasn't there. He had a prior commitment. He called out Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. Christian talked about how he was a 9-time tag team champion, but that Rollins and Jordan won the titles for the first time they ever teamed up. The fans hated Jordan. He was booed every time he opened his mouth, and you could tell it was scripted with that in mind, the way he would hesitate and wait for the boos. Jordan thanked his father, Kurt, for assembling such a great collection of talent on the show. He told the fans to give Kurt a round of applause, and almost nobody did. Sheamus and Cesaro came out. They ran down Angle and Jordan attacked them both. Rollins hit a tope on Sheamus. Rollins then went for a springboard knee onto the ring on Cesaro, who moved, and Rollins laid out Jordan. So this was the tease for them not getting along going into the Rumble match. Dog.
Yes.
We've hinted about it before. How good was Jason Jordan? He's just someone who could have been on top at some point if the injuries didn't derail him.
He's still the same guy. He still has a ton of talent, a ton of leadership traits, and still has a job with the WWE and does a damn fine job at it. And so I'm glad to know him. Glad to call him my friend. But he was also another guy that's so transformed into being a really good, smooth wrestler. From the shoot game, you know what I mean? From the shoot wrestling game. So I don't know, nothing but praise for Jason Jordan coming from me, you know.
What'd you think of the storyline though of Jason being Kurt Angle's son?
I actually thought it would. Yeah, I thought it worked, and I thought it. I'm not really sure how it played out. Again, I was writing SmackDown, so I don't really sure what happened on Raw a lot. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought if we could play it like it was real, it might be. You know what I mean? I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Charlie Caruso interviewed Alexa Bliss. Charlotte Flair showed up with Bliss in a wrestling outfit and boots, even though she didn't wrestle on the show. And Charlotte in heels. The visual was completely ridiculous, says the Observer. It made Bliss look like a physical joke next to her. The segment was designed for the Ric Flair cameo. All things considered, Rick looked great, which was noted to me by people who saw him at Starrcade in November. He's been allowed to train again, and he's been jonesing badly about not being allowed to lift any weights for a long time after all of his health issues. It's funny now to look back on all that. But
yeah,
4 years later, Rick was back to having his last match, but the difference in Bliss and Charlotte, how difficult is that to shoot with, you know, is it something that's highlighted on purpose? Or is that just something you're dealing with?
I mean, I think it's just something you have to deal with. If one's in street clothes and one's not, like, it's just, okay, I'm sorry. And also one's 5'5" and one's 5'10". I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, it's already bad. It's like, did you get that calendar I sent you? Somebody decided to put high heels on a giraffe, as if the giraffe wasn't tall enough. But it makes me think of that. But it's like, yeah, one of them showed up in street clothes. It just happened to be the taller girl. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think it was by design, but I think stuff like that is obvious.
Yeah. It just happens.
Sometimes the reporters at the Observer are Captain Obvious. Like, yeah, one person was tall and the other person was short. Thank you for that.
We knew that when they were in the ring together.
For that dynamite drop in.
Yeah. Back in the Manhattan Center, Bray Wyatt pinned Matt Hardy in 5 minutes, 48 seconds, clean with Sister Abigail. This was the first match from the building on television. Jerry Lawler, whether saying this because he doesn't pay attention to the product or just said something, or because he was instructed to, there was a storyline reason, brought up the idea of Sister Abigail being a real person and being introduced. It has been talked about and dropped more than once. Most of the match was during a commercial break. Yep. In a sense, Matt lost way too easy, but they did the same thing with Finn Balor program at first, so it's too early to say it's a sign. But thus far, Woken Matt is hardly anywhere close to the TNA version. Dog,
yeah,
good pause here. Did you see the Woken Matt Hardy while he was in TNA? And if so, what'd you think of it?
I did, and I didn't know what to think of it, and to this day, and I'm not a hater. I love Matt and Jeff, and that's the truth. I don't know. I still don't know what to think of it. I don't know what it. Maybe I didn't see the incarnation of it, or maybe I didn't understand where it came from or how it started. But I don't know. I didn't get it then, and I don't get it now. Maybe you can explain it to me, and I'll go like, oh crap, that's awesome.
I don't know if I can explain it. I just know when I watched it, I love every second of it personally.
Okay, so one thing I did love was the big match they did, and they did it out on his property and had,
incredible
Roman candles and all that crap. Like, what I loved about it was it set up some really fun stuff for us to do at NXT with Borash down there, because look, Borash is the beauty behind a lot of that stuff. So we got an opportunity at NXT to do some stuff like that too. But they were the predecessors, you know what I mean? They did it first. And so I did appreciate and enjoy a lot of that.
At the time, was this a misstep in beating Matt with his gimmick, or was Bray just too valuable?
Well, I don't know where we were at right then with Bray and Matt, and like we had been all over the place, and we were gung ho at one point. The next minute we're not doing anything with them. The next minute we got to split them apart. The next minute we got to put them together. Like it was just all over the place with them. So I kind of feel like we didn't set them up for success that much. But I do feel like it was because a lot of people didn't understand the character, and so it's. What is it? What do we do it? You know what I mean? Like what's going on? And I don't know. So it was, sometimes it was full steam ahead, and sometimes it was like, what are we doing, guys? You know? And so I don't know. Look, we were smart enough to take it and know, hey, there's something here because it's
buzz.
Yeah, because it's hot right now.
Yeah.
So let's do this. And the fact that we got to do it was a huge victory to us. So, but even though I was saying we should do it, I didn't get it, and I didn't think I needed to. You know what I mean? Like if people are getting it, let's do it and give it to them. Let's see what happens. And I don't think we ever fully committed to giving it to them.
They went back to the Barclays Center to introduce the women, including the Bella Twins, Nikki in her ring outfit, Bree not in her ring outfit, Maurice, Kelly, Lillian Garcia, Jackie Moore, who got a surprisingly big pop, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Terry Runnels, Maria Kanellis, and Trish Stratus was introduced last for the biggest pop. Both Maurice and Kanellis were showing, and they noted on air that both were pregnant. Wilson, who is 42, looked amazing. Moore is 54 and also looked in great shape. Dog, did you get a chance to see any of these women in person? Got any good stories about any of them?
I did not. Well, of course, you know, I gigged Miss Texas in her first blood match in Memphis, but no, I don't have any interesting stories. I didn't see them that day. Of course, I saw them all throughout the years, but honestly, Miss Texas, Jackie was probably the one I spent the most time with individually, just because of making towns in Memphis and stuff with her in the car. Had an interesting trip from Louisville to Memphis with her. That's 6 hours in the snow on acid. So that was an interesting drive. I saw the devil come at me and hit the windshield, and it pulled over. And she said, "I'm not driving, Jesse. You drive." And she was calling me Jesse James Armstrong. "I'm not driving, Jesse." I said, "Well, I can't drive either, Jackie, so we're just going to sit here." We just sat there for like 2 hours on the side of the road.
Well, look,
Doug Gilbert had some
coming in. Shut it down and figure it out.
Shut her down.
You know?
Yeah, when the devil comes in and you can't. You got to shut her down to get behind me, Satan.
Jesus, take the wheel, son. That's what it's all about.
Hey, Doug Gilbert had some Red Hots. You know what Red Hots are? Remember them Red Hots? Old candy. It was just a little red candy. They looked like Red Hots. So he had them in his hand, and so I grabbed 3 of them and threw them in my mouth, and he said those were acid. It was back in the day where it was like, okay, so what? So it's acid. But then I had to drive 6 hours in the snow, and that was a bad idea.
By the way,
look,
drugs are bad. Accidentally taking drugs are even worse.
Yeah. That was my fault. And he gave me like 6 more that I put in my pocket for the next day.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
wasn't
do this. I mean, give me 6 for the road. But yeah,
and then so literally an hour down the road, we were on the side of the road, just arguing about. I just couldn't
got your
drive
wits
it.
about you and took off.
Oh, eventually I just said, like, we got to go. We have to be in Memphis tomorrow. But the good thought was, I'm not going to sleep anytime soon, and I got all day to get there. We went 40 miles an hour for 6 hours.
Jesus, take the wheel. Take it from my hair.
I would say anyone take the wheel at this point.
Elias was backstage.
But Jesus and Jackie wasn't offering.
I love she's trying to get you to drive. You're like, nope. I'm not the person there. Elias was backstage with Chris Jericho. Jericho agreed to do the show at 120, even though he'd been advertised all week. When he appeared on the screen backstage, he got a huge pop. Austin and Undertaker were clearly the stars, but he may have been number 3. He was wearing his Alpha Club shirt, and he owns that name and shirt, not WWE. So it was great product placement for him. He wanted to sing a song, but Elias wouldn't let him use his guitar. Jericho then had his own guitar and sang a song that finished with Elias making the list. Dog, Jericho had already appeared as a one-time only gimmick for New Japan at this point.
Yeah.
You know if it was a point of contention between him and Vince?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
You never hear anything.
I can't imagine it, because if it was a point of contention, I don't know that it would have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that he would have been on the show, or I don't know that you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know how that would have progressed if people had been hot at each other about things. So I don't know. I just don't think he did. But again, I that's above my pay grade. And truth be told, out of my realm of giving a F.
Were you surprised that he was there? Or did it make sense?
No, not at all. To me, it makes sense. Like to me, just like we wanted to get Billy at the thing, we just did. You know what I mean? And it didn't work out. Yeah. Like, come on, man. You know, do what you got to do.
Elias was in the ring. To his credit, he comes across as a big star backstage, singing really everything but bell to bell. Says the Observer, he introduced Jimmy Fallon in the crowd, who got a mixed reaction. He insulted John Cena, who came out. Cena brought attention to the beach ball in the crowd, which didn't help matters since they were confiscating the ball, and fans just booed that even more. Fans were chanting asshole as well. Regarding security taking the beach ball, and Cena claimed they were chanting apple, I guess, for Big Apple. That's fun. Cena challenged Elias. Elias backed off and then went on the attack. Cena beat him to the punch and did the shoulder tackles and 5-knuckle shuffle. He went for the attitude adjustment, but Elias used a low blow and laid Cena out with a guitar shot to the back and drift away. Man.
Oh, and drift away.
It feels like Elias was right on the tip of getting to the top level.
He was on the cusp, man.
What happened?
Well, I don't know, and I think the Observer has their opinion, and I think I disagree with it, you know, as usual. But Elias can go in the ring. Like, he's versatile, and he's strong, and he's athletic, and he can do it all. So I really don't know what the I can understand if you think you're painting him as he's the guy that goes out there every week and acts like he's going to sing, gets cut off as a match, blah, blah, blah. I get that you can think he was kind of creatively written into a ceiling, and I get that, and maybe it's a one-trick pony, but I think he's better than that, and I don't know if he's got the opportunity to be, but look, he's proved how versatile he is as a talent. With the brother coming back and totally different, all that was really great stuff. And so I don't know. Look, the good part about it is, that was weird. I sat up, and then I saw a creamy fade back to.
If you're watching, you've just taken the Red Hot. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
That hurt my ribs. Yes, that's funny. It was like, whoa. But anyway, I don't know what we were talking about.
Elias is the talent.
Wrestling.
Either way, if he made it or not, at this point, big deal to be working with Cena on this 100%.
Show. And I don't think we've seen talking about right now, I don't think we've seen the last of Elias, you know what I mean? Or the best of Elias. Like, I think the guy's got range, and I think he's got a ton of talent, and I don't think we've seen the best yet.
I think it says a lot if you're bringing Cena back to put Elias in there. Whoever's with him, that's a big spot. Have
Elias bust a guitar over his head. You know what I mean?
That's incredible.
And truth be told, you want to know whose idea that was? I can't guarantee this, but I'd bet a $10,000 right now said it was probably Cena's idea. You know what I mean? Just
really?
because Elias was on the cusp of something right then, and everybody could see it. And so what?
That was kind of giving him the nod.
Yeah, I think so. That's just me, though. What do I know?
O'Neill's and Cruz versus Slater and Rhino ended in a no contest in 5 minutes, 37 seconds. Cruz did a long vertical suplex on Slater. I mean, the dude's got kids. The match was just set up for the Dudleys to come out. It was notable that Bubba was Bully Ray on Ring of Honor TV tapings 2 nights earlier. All 4 guys left the ring rather than let the Dudleys attack them. But the other 3 guys threw Slater back in, so he was the guy to take the was up and take a 3D through a table. Then everyone involved got in the ring and raised each other's hands. People couldn't understand that Rhino was wearing a Slater t-shirt, was celebrating Slater being put through the table. I mean, it makes no sense, dog. Sometimes it's fun in games, but
does it not make sense? Like, let's think about this.
We got what we wanted.
Logically.
Yeah,
let's think about this. Like, really? It doesn't make sense? I think we're past that. I think let's please not focus on that, Captain Obvious.
Backstage, Styles also got a huge reaction. He was doing an interview. He told Caruso to leave and brought in Gene Okerlund to interview him. Styles first pretended to be Hulk Hogan with the cadence of the promo before becoming himself. He called Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn Cammy and did a promo for his Rumble match. He was in a 1-on-2 title match, and they had him do a total comedy promo. First of all, dog, how cool is it to have AJ with Gene?
Wow. I mean, how cool is it for AJ to say, I've never done a promo with me and Gene. You know what I mean? I never did a promo with, what was the old guy? The old
Gorilla.
No.
Gordon Soley.
Gordon Soley. God, where was that? Yeah, I never got to do one with him. I would love to do an interview with him. I never got to do one with this cat either. Me and Gene. And so, man, what a cool moment for AJ to say, I got to cut a promo with me and Gene. Right. And I got to be like Hogan for a second. And it was, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think it was, they brought up the fact that it was a total comedy promo. Did they like that, or they hated it, or what?
No, he just said it was that. He didn't give
okay.
Opinion.
Okay, well, that was nice. AJ was in it, and he was at the Tokyo Dome before, so I figured.
That was 27 stars. Back to the Manhattan Center, Shawn Michaels and Triple H came out as DX. Michaels would start to tell a story, and Triple H would tell him he couldn't say it. Michaels made a remark about how in the days of DX, he was the boss, but now Triple H is the boss of everyone. Triple H brought up how they used to come to the ring with Ravishing Rick Rude and China. Both names got a nice but not overwhelming response. China more than Rude, since Rude really wasn't part of the heyday of the group and his bodyguard role was short-lived. He talked about how DX was on the first episode of Raw. Michaels did wrestle on the first episode of Raw in 1993, but DX wasn't formed until 97. Any idea why Hunter said this was just a slipped-up, or do you think it was something behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any idea, but Shawn Michaels wrestled on there, so you could say, you know what I mean? You say whatever you want to.
Formation. We don't know when it formed. Could have formed in 93.
And I don't know. That's the input. That's the headline.
I think they're overthinking that. But while we're here, it is important to mention Rick and China in this promo, was it not?
Yeah, of course it was. It was a cool moment, and it was important to do that because that's part of the creation, right? Was they were a part of it, and so you got to give them their props.
Here we go.
All right.
The Observer, they brought out Road Dogg and Billy Gunn in his first appearance with the promotion since he was fired for testing positive for testosterone in a powerlifting meet, and Sean Waltman. Then Waltman said it wouldn't be a Raw reunion, and they played Scott Hall's Razor Ramon music and called him Razor Ramon, even though he's far more famous as Scott Hall. The crowd reacted big to him, of course. Dog, being in the ring with these guys again, having Billy back there, this has to be an incredible moment for you. And then the pop when Razor's music plays is big. How cool was it to have Scott there for that moment?
Yeah, it was super cool. And like, I don't know, who cares who he was more over as, you know what I mean? Like, they always bring up some negative stuff, it feels like. There's always something negative, a little negative jab about it. But I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe it wasn't like that. But like, I don't know, Razor Ramon, man, that's what made Scott Hall cool, was the fact that he was Razor Ramon. It wasn't the fact that Scott Hall was cool. Like, Scott becoming Scott after he was Razor made him cool. You know what I mean? Like that, it pretty much cemented him as a really cool dude with some street savvy. You know what I mean? And street cred. So I don't know. I thought it was cool.
They do a Too Sweet They did a 2-Sweet with Legends of Finn Balor, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows coming out. This was meant as a symbolic passing of the 2-Sweet sign to them for merchandising purposes. They all did it together, and then the Revival came out. What was funny is the crowd was chanting 2-Sweet, whoop whoop, 2-Sweet, whoop whoop, which is the Ring of Honor chant, not the WWE chant. This was really a passing of the torch, Dog, to Finn, Carl, and Luke, was it not?
Well, I guess we didn't have that conversation.
Okay.
Nobody said like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." You know, it was just like in my mind, I don't think that conversation was had. I think that's what Kevin does. That's what Scott does. That's what I know Kevin wasn't out there, but that's what those guys do. That's what these guys do too. So they did it together. If you notice, Billy Gunn in that last picture was not doing it, and he refuses to do it, and he will not go in there and do it. I think I had mine up there, but I didn't put it in there. Looking, and the reason for me to do that is Billy didn't do it because it wasn't our thing. It's not our thing. I'm not doing it. Okay, cool, whatever. I would do it because look, everybody's doing it. I'll do this, but it wasn't our thing. And and truth be told, it wasn't anybody's but the Wolf Pack. You know what I mean? When they started doing it, and so somebody else took it from them because it was cool and started doing it. It got over again 20 years later, and then people want to find, that's what I feel, that's what I love, is people want to look so hard to find these subliminal messages that don't exist at all in the wrestling world. But it's just like, we didn't talk about it. They came in, they do the 2-Sweet, he did the 2-Sweet. Me and Billy went like, what? Okay. and that was that. Like it wasn't a passing of the torch. It wasn't a big this thing that you made it out of your mind. It just wasn't that. And we'll get into some more that wasn't that either here in a minute, I'd imagine.
Before we keep going,
it's about to get good, is what I'm saying.
While we're here, what do you think of those guys with Finn, Carl, and Luke and the club? What do you think of those guys together?
Huge fan of those guys. Huge fan personally. Loved having AJ on the SmackDown roster. Would have loved to have had Finn. Man, especially now Judgment Day is really firing on all cylinders. Would have loved to have them on the roster. But yeah, all of those guys were great to work with, and there was a moment there. We had a great time. It was a cool moment for all of us, I think.
By the way, if you ever see Gallows and Anderson, they love mixers at hotels.
They do.
If you'll get them the old manager's party in the hotel lobby, they love mixers.
Bless their heart. I'll tell you a little secret about them next time you see them. Ask them if they can, if they know where y'all can find a rock. Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
Anybody listening, just ask them that.
Yeah. You will. They will laugh.
Tell
them I said that.
This led to a short match with Gallows and Anderson beating the Revival in 2 minutes. This was set up last week when the Revival said that the guys from the 90s were the ones who made the business. A joke in there, we're wrestlers, not sports entertainers gimmick. Gallows and Anderson used the Magic Killer, and Anderson pinned Wilder. Scott Dawson then got in Hall's face, and Hall threw a toothpick at him. Waltman gave Dawson the X Factor. Road Dogg gave him a series of punches, and Gunn gave him the famouser to lay him out. Wilder then got up and went after Gunn, but got super kicked by Michaels, and Triple H laid him out with a pedigree.
Hey, which one is Wilder? What? Seriously, which one is Wilder's the one with hair or the one that's bald?
That'd be the hair.
Wilder has the hair. Okay. So Sean kicked him, super kicked him, bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, Cash Wilder, yeah.
What happened next?
With the mullet. Then they all told Balor to go to the top rope, and Balor delivered the coup de grace on Wilder. So this is where the real story begins, dog. What were the Revival like when everything is being put together? Was there any issues there?
No, there weren't.
Okay.
Like, and that's just all there is to it. Like, there wasn't any issues. Like, we put the stuff together. They were right there for it. They did great. It was awesome. And I guess I got caught up in my own personal moment and didn't thank the guy or something. I don't know. I don't know when the story begins. Hopefully you'll fill me in. That's how much I know of it anyway. But yeah, there wasn't any issues. We all felt like, okay, yeah, should we do this? Should you do that? I feel like everybody got their crap in. Like that was what it was all about, right? And I'm sorry if putting you guys in that position was problematic for y'all. They didn't say that then, you know.
FDR went on Cornette's podcast about the Raw 25 segment. He said, we thought we were Hunter's guys because we worked so hard for so long to make NXT mean something. We believed in NXT and Hunter, said Dax. Raw 25 came along and we had heard rumblings of what we were doing. When we found out, it broke my heart. That was when Hunter and the Clique came out and ran through me and Cash. They hit us with every one of their finishers. We came to the back and I punched a brick wall. I started flipping out. Cash grabbed me and was like, it's okay. It'll be all right. I was in tears, not because I was sad, but because I was so upset and hurt. A guy we had so much respect for, and we still do. We couldn't believe he would allow that to happen to us. On the flip side, it's not his company. He doesn't call the shots. Vince calls the shots. A lot to digest here. Cash said, it wasn't the actual segment. It was the comments before and after. Obviously, we're out there to do a job for these guys and make them look good. It felt like they didn't respect us and what we were about to do. We couldn't get a handshake or a thank you. Dax then added, X-Pac said thank you. Everyone else walked right past us. That really hurt us. I can't say anyone loses faith in Hunter. I'm not sure we lost faith in Hunter that day as much as we lost faith in the company. All right, here we go. Do you think these guys took things a little too seriously?
100%.
Okay.
They took it personally. And so I said this on the past podcast. I apologize for not thanking you guys. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But I also mean from the bottom of my heart, if it hurts you so bad to do that you went back and punched a wall and cried, like I just feel like you need to reevaluate what's going on in your world. Like the fact that you got in there and were involved in that moment, but because I didn't thank you or something, like I don't know. Maybe I'm not hearing it all right and I'm not grasping it all right, or maybe I don't understand the situation y'all were in. But for me, I thought it was a cool spot and a cool moment. And just because you guys are really good wrestlers doesn't mean you can't go out there and do honors or favors or whatever you think it is for the us guys that made it happen 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Like I just don't understand it. And so it baffles me. And to hear him say that he went back and cried after that, like, holy mackerel, that hurts my heart. It hurts me. But not because it hurts me, because of where your head's at, dude. Like it's okay, man. It's phony baloney wrestling and you're making a good living at it. But guess what? When you're not, nobody cares anymore. So just be a good person and do what you can do. And that's how we're going to roll. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you. I've never lived my life that way. And I pray I never will. Like it's okay to be passionate and want your stuff to be good, but your stuff that night was to bump around for us and put us over, and you did great at it. And now 25 years later, or however 5 years later, we find out that it was a big deal. And it was like, I don't know, man, I didn't see it that way. And I apologize that I'm sorry that you did. That's all I can say on it. You know,
let me ask you this, just to kind of get more background.
Yeah.
And I want to say you and Billy, but I don't want to put words in his mouth too. But
yeah.
How many times, what percentage do you think you went after a match in your career and thanked the other guys for if you went over? I mean, is that
yeah, that's
all
something
the time,
you do.
50-50?
Yeah. No, it happens all the time. It does happen all the time. And so had I been in a match with those guys, I'd have probably said that. It was just a different scenario and a different setup, and it was all about us, and it was all about, and that's how it was designed. And you know, that maybe that's the hurtful part, is their feelings and their thoughts weren't included. And I get that, if that's the case. I understand that. But did you think they were going to be when you're in there with Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon and Hunter Hearst? Like, you know what I mean? Like, even take me out of it, take Billy out of it, take Kid out of it. Those people that were in there, and like, holy mackerel, man, it was an honor for me to stand in the ring. They could have hit me with a super kick all day long, and I'd have laid flat as a lizard drinking. You know what I mean? And we could have shot the streamers off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what. It's so unfathomable to me that it blows my mind that we're having this conversation. And that's the truth. It blows my mind that we're having the conversation about somebody's feelings being hurt after and I realize it's a different day and age, and I realize I'm an older guy and started in an older generation. But man, it's just different. I don't know if Buzz Sawyer would have said he got hurt by Tommy not after the bloodbath, the cage in Atlanta. You know, Tommy didn't thank him, so Hacksaw's all mad about it. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy talk to me, and I'm sorry I can't wrap my head around it.
I think it was interesting. They hit us with their finishers, and we came back, and he was saying about what was going to happen for them and what they were about to do. I mean, you look at them now, it's not like anybody went, hey guys, they took everybody's finisher. We don't believe in them anymore.
No, that's what I'm talking about. They were
involved in a big segment.
And they're still huge in wrestling.
That's what I mean.
They got a bunch of tag titles, and it didn't affect them at all. All. Not one iota. And that's what I want everyone, including them, to realize. It doesn't matter, man. It's phony baloney wrestling. If you think the titles around your waist make you the best wrestlers in the world, I'm done having a conversation with you, because I ain't got nothing else I can say. You know what I mean? It's not about that. You guys are great at what you do. You're great at it. And you I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say on the subject.
Let me read one more, and then we'll get out of here. We'll move on to the rest of Raw 25. Dax went on Renee Young's podcast and said this: as a kid, I chose Brett over Shawn. Then NXT, Shawn came on board, and he was a teacher. He was a big fan of me and Cash. We got injured. Cash broke his jaw when Kenta gave him the go to sleep. Maybe 2 weeks later, I gave Sheamus a lifter, and I tore my bicep. I went through a real bad phase then. Man, this is not going to work for us. This is a run of bad luck. We came back to TV, and at Raw 25, we were booked to do the deal with Hunter and his friends where they just beat us up. I was so upset because for a lot of guys, it's just a paycheck. Who cares? Not to me. There's a legacy I want to leave. That happened, and I talked to Shawn. It was the first time we talked since the PC days. I told him this happened. I tore my bicep. I went through a really dark period, and I thought I was going to quit. Thankfully, I have the greatest wife in the world. She supported me and brought me out of this funk and out of a dark place, and I'm here now and was super happy. He said I was the same way. I was in a very dark spot, and my wife, she's beautiful. She pulled out of this dark spot too. That's so awesome. You and your partner are way too talented to be doing what you're doing tonight, and way too talented to stay at this point. Just keep your nose to the ground and keep grinding, and you're going to get over. I said, oh man, Shawn, thank you so much. We had this bonding moment. Then we got in front of his friends, X-Pac, Hunter, Billy, Road Dogg, and Scott. As soon as we got in front of his friends, he started making fun of me and my situation and what happened with the bicep. Man, I just poured my heart out to you, and as soon as we get in front of your friends, as we're going over them beating the shit out of us, you decide to take all that stuff and make fun about it. I never, ever forgot it. And as soon as we were done with the business of Raw, one person said, thank you. That was Sean Waltman. Everyone else was so cold to us and treated us like we were just the shit of the bottom of their shoes, except for Waltman. I'll never forget that with Sean, and I hope there's a day where we can sit down and have a conversation where I can ask him why he did that and why we can reconcile if he wants to. If I love you, I love you. If I don't, I don't, he said. Dog, have you talked to anyone else about this since this, a few weeks ago became a huge online controversy?
Not one time.
Do you think Sean would like to make amends with him?
I don't think Sean thinks there's any amends to be made.
Okay.
And so here's what I want to say. People are people. People do what people do. The world does not revolve around you. Like, it happens around you. And how you perceive it and how you react to what happens around you, that's what you can control. And it seems to be that you've taken everything that happened around you extremely personal. And I don't think any of the people around you meant it in any way, shape, or form like you think they meant it, and meant it how you took it. And you've taken this and you've blown it up in your head for 5 years now, and you've made it something when it was nothing, and it still is nothing. And you guys are still multiple-time tag team champions of in America, internationally, on top of the world in tag team wrestling. Nothing happened. It's over. It's been done. It's been gone. Nobody remembers it except you. And you keep bringing it back up because it's bothering you. It bothered you. And I for me, honestly, for my part, I am sorry that anything I did has bothered you so much that we're still talking about it today. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I don't think Sean would want to sit down and talk, because I think it's ridiculous that he would have to do that. Like, sometimes you get around your buddy and you go, look at that, and you poke fun and you do, and we're having a conversation and nobody means nothing by it. But such and such got his feelings hurt. So I don't know. I don't know what to. The more we talk about it, the more dumbfounded I get that's where we're at, and that's where that's the conversation we're at. But here's how I feel, and this is the one. This is gonna really make some people mad because I'm an old, decrepit, bitter man. But he spoke like a fan and not like a wrestler. He spoke like I was a Brett guy, not a Sean guy. But then Sean was going to help me, and Sean said this, but then here Sean was mean. And then it was all, man, just, he spoke like a fan and not like one of the boys. One of the boys would have came up to us and said, hey, thank y'all, man. It was, and we would have whatever. The fact, I don't know, man. I'm so dumbfounded right now. Let's move on, because I really am. I don't know what to say, and anything I say is not going to be nice, and so don't say nothing at all. That's the old saying.
Let's talk about something me and you both can agree on. There is no misunderstanding, Road Dogg. Jimmy's famous seafood.
Famous seafood. Yeah, we can agree on that.
It's famous seafood.
It's so good that it's famous.
And when it delivers to your front door, you're going to thank whoever got it to you.
Oh,
free
famously.
2-day nationwide shipping on orders over $125, excluding steamed crabs or fresh items. All you got to do is use that promo code
DOWG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, everybody knows about the Maryland crab cakes. It's more crab than it is cake.
That's for dang sure.
Don't underestimate the soups, the chowders, the oysters, the steaks.
It's delectable. I would rather sit on a cake and eat a crab than sit on a crab and eat a cake. You know what I'm saying? So go on with Jimmy's famous seafood.
Plus, if you're like my wife and you look at bread and poop your pants, they've got it for you at Jimmy's famous seafood. Gluten-free items, taking care of everybody's dietary needs, and they are incredible.
One time I looked at some pooped and then pooped a loaf of bread. It was weird.
Several packages make great gifts. The famous gift box, which includes 4 of the world's best colossal Maryland crab cakes, 2 different crab soups, crab dip, seafood seasoning. You can put that on anything you want, and their signature bay sauce.
Oh,
Dog.
brother. It is to die for. Jimmy's Seafood. If you ain't been to Jimmy's famous seafood, you apparently ain't been to Baltimore, because it is must-see destination.
Yeah.
And definitely must-eat, man. The soups, the crab cakes, everything they got. The best seafood I ever had. The best seafood you ever had, too. $125 is all you got to order to get free shipping. It comes right to your front door, and it'll have several seafood meals in there for you. Jimmy's famous seafood, man. If you ain't down, you better get down, clown, and order some. Now using the promo code DOGG.
Dog, Valentine's is around the corner.
Oh.
I don't know about you. How great would it be if your wife got you Valentine's and you got that big old gift box?
Hey, the weight of my heart is right through my fat belly. And so I would love nothing better than if she had like a heart-shaped crab cake that she could, I don't know if we could do that. Maybe that's for next year. I don't know.
NFL playoffs are in full swing.
Yeah.
And you know
Tailgater.
Jimmy's loves their football.
Yeah.
That's why they've put together the tailgate bundle. 2 pounds of wings,
Oh.
a full rack of barbecue ribs, and a pint of crab dip, and the crab cake mix so you can make your own at home. Plus, you can just create your own package if you want to go off the grid.
Hey, look, all we talk about on this show is packages, whether they're discreet or whether they are filled chock-a-block full of delicious seafood. Right here is where you can get it at Jimmy's famous seafood. Promo code DOGG.
DOGG. That gets you that free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders over $125, excluding the steamed crabs and fresh items. DOGG.
Best seafood you ever ate, no doubt.
It's famous for a reason.
Yep.
Okay? It's Jimmy's famous seafood.
Famous seafood, famous seafood, famous seafood.
Eat my chowder. All right.
Oh, Lord.
Let's get back to this night. Raw 25.
Raw
dog.
25.
They
We've
were
already
back
got through the debacle that was the NWO/DX segment.
They were back at the Barclays Center for the final segment on the show. Angle called out everyone that was backstage, from the guys playing cards to the legends to the guys who had nothing to do that night as security, which ended up being silly, they say. Strowman and Kane came out, and there was a wall dividing them. Paul Heyman came out to do a big pop to cut a promo and introduce Brock Lesnar. Nothing was said about the angle a few weeks ago where Strowman tried to kill both of them. Lesnar ran to the ring. Everyone that was supposed to keep order just jumped out of the ring. Lesnar knocked Strowman out of the ring, gave Kane an F5. Kane never saw up. Strowman came back and clotheslined Lesnar over the top rope, threw him into the barricade, and power slammed him through the announcer's table.
Whoa.
And the show went off the air. Dog, how tough is it to keep booking Brock with these big dudes and not have him just murder him?
Yeah, well, it's tough. You got to prop him up at the beginning at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see, what I love is when you see some of the stuff where you see like an accidental knee to Brock's face, and then you see Brock just stand up and throw like a shoot punch right at these guys. It's just like, hey, man, don't get too rough with him in there. You know what I mean? Play by the rules and you won't get beat up. But yeah, no, look, you got to prop the guy up, right? You got to prop the and we're seeing it now with Bobby Lashley working with, you know what I mean? You make him the monster, and then it's believable. Like, this guy might beat him, you know? And so you got to keep doing what you can do to try to prop up those guys, because he's Brock Lesnar, you know what I mean? And so what are you going to do when Brock Lesnar runs wild on you?
I knew you were gonna. When Raw went off the air, Ric Flair came out and started talking about his friends in DX and how X-Pac once hit him so hard in a match that he still remembers it. Flair said that he spent 11 days, like Jerry Lawler had spent 20 minutes, basically being dead, and how both of them had come back from death. He said he's learned to cherish every moment in life, and said how DX and the club were the real heroes of wrestling. The Miz, who had won the IC title.
I wonder if the bald one is still mad at Flair for saying that.
Stop it. The bald one.
I meant like Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, of course. Bang, bang. The Miz, who had won the IC title from Reigns in Brooklyn, came out and said while some members of DX had held the IC title,
these are also available.
that other members never had, and nobody from the club ever was a champion of anything. Seth Rollins, who had done an angle earlier in Brooklyn, came out. Rollins laid out Miz with the blackout curb stomp. Are you out there for this? What do you think of the Flair saying all this, Dog?
Well, it was weird, but we knew it wasn't on the air, so it was like, okay, it was just Flair being Flair. You know
I was
what
about to say, you give him the hot mic, you gotta let it go.
He came out there. Thank God we were off the air, and he had a good time, and we did too. And I think the people there did too. You know what I mean? It was a moment where we were in the ring making having a blast and kind of. I don't know. It just makes me more flustered to think about the other perspective of it that the guy saw. You know what I mean? Because we were all in there just having a good time, and I guess it wasn't that way for everybody. So that's sad. Makes me sad.
We've touched on it before. Definitely think he's underrated right now already. But how good is Miz as a heel?
Man, look, Miz is my guy, and Mike knows it. When I was the lead writer of SmackDown, I loved having Miz. Not everybody's a fan of how he wrestles or his work, but man, I'm a fan of Miz, the sports entertainer, because he can handle anything, a whole segment. He could go out there and host your show. He could go out there and do commentary the whole show. He can do anything when it comes to our industry, except for what the hardcore fans think is have a 5-star match. But he can do anything in our business, and he's made a great living doing it, and is continuing to do so on his his reality show. But look, I can't sing Mike's praises enough, and he's a huge addition to the company, and that's just the truth. Like he's a model WWE employee, sports entertainer. Like he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't drink and he doesn't get stupid. He doesn't, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a responsible human being. He's a good looking guy. He can do anything in our industry. He's a pillar to me and a first ballot Hall of Famer. And no way am I kidding.
Triple H came out to end the show, thanking all the fans for making the 25th anniversary show so special. It was notable that the live crowd at the Manhattan Center was furious when they weren't on camera with chants of, "We want refunds," and "We want Austin." But whenever they were on air, it was a different story, and they went crazy for the Two Sweets and the Suck It chants. Dog, what do you remember about that crowd? Is that how you remember it?
They were playing too. But what they didn't do was try to hijack. You know what I mean? They played the game and played the part, and I appreciate it. And that's why I think they got their money's worth. You know what I mean? They got to come and kind of be a part of that show. And look, it's fine to do that sometimes, but it's, I can see why people would think it was disrespectful if they're in the ring or trying to do their business, and the fans take it upon themselves to do some business. You know what I mean? So, but I think they got what they came for that evening, and we all had a good time. So, no blood, no foul.
We've kind of touched on this previously. You've have before. Fans have asked it and other things, but since DX keeps coming back, if you could have one more match with the whole faction, you, Hunter, Sean, Billy, Pac, against one stable in the last 10 years, whatever way you mix and match it, who do you think it would be?
Bloodline.
Yeah.
Who do you think it would be, and why would it be the Bloodline? I mean, think about the dynamic in the teams, the Usos, the Sami Zayn, the Solo Sikoa, the Roman, you know what I mean? Like, holy mackerel. And you tag Roman in, and here comes Hunter in, or who, you know what I mean? And here comes, and there's a face off, and there's, I don't know. It's just, holy crap, it would be awesome. And of course you would want to wrestle with the hottest people right now.
Before we get to fan questions, let's toss it to one of our hottest friends, Mr. Conrad Thompson. He's going to tell everybody that listens to You Didn't Know how you could save a little money with SaveWithConrad.com.
So I had gone to the StarCast 5 show in Nashville, which was fantastic. Kudos to everybody involved with that. And they had a booth. And it's like any cheap guy, I'm just like, free stuff. Let me go try to win that stuff. So entered some drawings, put down my info, and I got a call from Steven a couple of weeks later with First Family Mortgage. And we have been in the market for a refi a little bit. We were looking to extend our HELOC. And he hit me at the perfect time. So I said, hey, man, go nuts. Let's see what we can figure out. And within, I'd say 30, 45 minutes tops, he had a pretty great offer. So I was able to get transferred to Diane, who was also great, and just kind of get a little bit more info. Tabled it for about a week or so, went through some things on my end, and everyone came back to me, so that's a great deal. You got to go with it. And we did. And now the rest is history. It took only I mean, shoot, 30 to 45 days max, the whole process was great. About $1,100 of cash flow was freed up because of the refi. So $1,100 a month back in our pocket. It was fantastic. Like, I recommend them because they make you feel like you're a human being. They want what's best for you. And it's, again, a simple process. And in and out of the whole process within, again, 30 to 45 days. And I got my wire for cash back to pay off my credit cards. And just no BS. That's what I did. I just made a payment yesterday on my second largest credit card. And it's just like, oh crap, we did it. And this was only maybe 2 months ago, 2 months and change before the whole thing started, before I probably even, so can't recommend them enough.
All right, Dog, let's get to these fans' questions. Outlaw Corey James.
Outlaw Corey James is a regular.
Yeah, we love it. Outlaw CLM on Twitter. He said, at this time, could a match between the New Age Outlaws and Gallows and Anderson had been possible? Would that have been possible back then?
So I don't think so, and the only reason I say that is because I was in horrible shape. But look, Billy could have wrestled both of them on his own. But I mean, it would have been possible. It wouldn't have been any good, but it would have been possible. But I might have been
gotten to the bell.
It might have been good around me.
Well, I mean, what? Meltzer wouldn't have liked it? What's new? Yeah. I mean, who cares?
I'm going to tell you, he wouldn't have. He would. Me or him both wouldn't have.
He also, Outlaw Corey James, when he tweeted us at You Didn't Know Pod, he said, does Finn Balor have a Fergal McDivitt shirt yet? I've been thinking about it since it got brought up episodes ago. We got to get him one.
Dude, I'm going to... we got to get it to me.
What size does he wear? Schmedium?
A schmedium, I'm sure. Just get it to me. It don't even matter what size it's in. I'm going to get a picture with him wearing it.
Okay, we got to make this happen.
Yeah, I'm going to make it happen. I just need the shirt.
All right. Just tell us your address right now around it.
Yeah, Schmedium. Okay, my phone number is 644.
All right. Oh, I'm falling. Oh, God. Okay. I need a new chair. I broke this one. I don't know if you can see it. It was chaos.
There was panic in your eyes momentarily, and that's the
going backwards.
That's the funny part.
I was taking a spine buster on my own floor. MMX Punk.
Oh Lord.
He tweets us at You Didn't Know Pod, at Brian Artie James, at the Casio Kid. Is it true JR fell asleep at the site you and DX did your segment? There was a report, which must have been done by Meltzer, that stated he fell asleep. If it wasn't done by Meltzer, then Jimmy Jillikers sounds like something he would say. Jiminy Jillikers.
Jumping Jiminy Jillikers.
Do you remember JR falling asleep?
I do.
Oh, no!
I do. But in his defense, they were out. There was a lot of downtime in that smaller venue. And so you can't, I'm sure he traveled all day. So you can't really fault him. He was kind of just sitting there. You know what I mean? But I guess it wasn't a good look. There was some pictures. Taken.
Yambag Jones hit us up on AdFreeShows.com.
WBJ.
Who was the one rumored to be brought in for the show that couldn't be there for some reason? How about Mae Young's hand baby or the gobbledygooker not around?
Hey, the hand baby is always funny because the guy who was the hand baby is Michael Kirschenbaum, and he was on the writing team. I know he's still on the writing team, but so he was the guy. So we say like, hey, this is the hand.
He's still known as the hand baby.
He grew up to be on the writing team.
That hand is writing some of the best segments out there right now. The Big Bad Boo Bear hit us up.
Quadruple B.
I think that was Fergal McDivitt's first tag team partner.
It was his first tag team partner, yeah.
Big Bad Boo Bear?
Big Bad Boo Bear. They worked in Germany.
He hit us up on AFS. He says, longtime fan, I love your show and grew up on you and DX. I don't know if you have any idea, and it doesn't really correlate with Raw's 25th anniversary. However, I just wanted you to know if you had any idea why we never seen Rock versus HBK. I don't know if you have any idea, but I thought I'd ask.
Have they never worked together? Is that a fact?
That's pretty crazy if they have.
That is crazy if that's a fact. Like, I don't remember them working together either, but it was probably totally just...
it didn't happen.
Just didn't happen.
No,
you know what I mean? Because
that would. Like that.
I don't think so at all. I think that was the time when Rock was really rising, was Shawn was injured, and so I think it was just so happened that their paths didn't cross. But man, I don't even know if that's true. That's incredible if it is, because what a match they could have had.
All right, Dog. Fun one. Fun topic today.
Very
Next
fun.
week, we're going to continue a look back at 5 years ago with the Royal Rumble from 2018.
Oh.
From Philadelphia. We'll have, Dog, you're going to discuss the men's Royal Rumble won by Shinsuke Nakamura. The first time the women's Royal Rumble happened. And in the main event, Ronda Rousey's surprise debut.
Oh, Lord.
Brock
A lot
Lesnar-
went on. We made history.
went on.
We made history and then some.
Brock Lesnar defends his WWE Universal title against Kane and Braun Strowman. And what happens when Braun gets a little stiff with Brock? The Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan story, which we've touched on.
Yes,
You talked about
yes.
the Game of Thrones
Good
there.
stuff.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn continues. Bobby Roode winning the vacant U.S. title. And the Usos defend the SmackDown Tag Team titles against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match, plus more. Lot to digest. That's going to be a fun one.
But hey, that is going to be a fun one because that's some good stuff right there, Dog.
By the way, this is going to be fun, Dog. I don't know. Let's run it past you. Last month, over on AdFreeShows.com, Eric Bischoff and Nick Patrick sat down live together for the very first time to discuss what really happened in one of the most infamous main events in history, Starrcade 97. You can catch that. It's called The Fast Count on demand anytime over on AdFreeShows.com. You know what? You're boys with Nick Patrick. We should have him on the show and have some fun with him.
We should. I don't have anything that was like historic, but like we've been to jail a couple times together. So I think there's history in our minds anyway.
Let's book it. And also this month, Ad Free Shows is bringing you another premium watch-along event as we celebrate the 35th anniversary of the very first Royal Rumble.
Wow.
And we're watching it live with the winner of that historic match, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh my God,
that?
I love Jim Duggan, man. If you haven't had the opportunity just to experience him, because it is an experience, like, and it's one that's really cool. You know what I mean? And to watch this back with him, heck, you might have me on there too.
That's only available
because that's good. That's a good time right there.
That's going down January 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern, over at AdFreeShows.com. We say it before, we'll say it again. Another plug to our friend Eric Bischoff and Guy Evans with the new Grateful book.
Grateful.
Amazon or at bischoffbook.com. And before you leave here, wherever you're consuming this podcast, please like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star rating on all platforms. Go to our merch site, bagofjohnsons.com. It's fresh, it's hot, everything is there.
That's not the name of it, is it?
Yeah. Well, you go to boxofgimmicks.com.
Box of Gimmicks or
Bag of Johnsons
Bag of
will get
Johnsons
you wherever you want to go.
We go both ways.
Please follow us on Twitter. He's at Brian R.D. James. I'm at The Casio Kid. The show, of course, at You Didn't Know Pod. Interact with us. Let us know what you think about this episode. Let us know what you want to see. Any guest ideas, any topic ideas, please get in touch with us over at You Didn't Know Pod on Twitter. Plus, if you're on YouTube, we appreciate you watching this with us, looking at our handsome faces.
Yeah, well, it's going to be better when we get that beard trimmer in there, that beard Burnham
going. Like, subscribe, and if you are watching, you haven't done so yet on YouTube, turn on the notifications so you don't miss anything, including our YouTube exclusives that we drop randomly at youtube.com/DOGG.
Yes,
there you go. Appreciate you,
is.
Dog. Another good one in the books. It's going to be fun to dive into that Rumble.
I appreciate you too, Casio, and yeah, it is going to be fun. And listen, if I don't see you before it rains, pee on you. I don't know.
I'm trying to picture a lizard laying down drinking water. That's all I took from this
flat
whole episode.
out. That's some old Steve Irwin stuff. You were too young to take that.
Steve Irwin reference. I didn't know we were getting in.
Yeah.
Also, thank you to our dirtbags.
Yeah.
The DeAngelo brothers, Sabato,
Skanks.
Derek Sabato.
The Skank
They are the
twins.
Skanks. Thank you for all your help for what you do. We
Yeah.
appreciate you and all you. Dog, for you, for me, if you didn't like this episode, we
Yeah,
tried
I
our
got
best.
2 words for you. Suck it.